we will talk about automatic PO. What is automatic PO creation? Let me give you an example. Say we have ordered for 100 pounds of coffee and the truck has come in after a couple of days carrying the 100 pounds of coffee. Suddenly, say one of the bakers comes in from our bakery and says he needs 100 pounds of flour or sugar. It's an urgent requirement. So what options do we have? Option number one is to place an urgent order with the vendor. Say the best the vendor can do is 4 hours or 6 hours or 4 days. Another option is this guy in the warehouse receiving the stock. So you can just make a phone call to this guy and say, hey, you know what? The next time the truck comes in, so the truck is going to come in an hour or two, and just ask him if he has 100 pounds of flour. So when the truck comes in with 100 pounds of coffee that we have originally ordered, that is scheduled for delivery today, so this guy asks him if he has 100 pounds of flour. Assuming the truck already has 100 pounds of flour readily available for sale, that is, if we get lucky, we can just take that 100 pounds of flour. But how do we pay for it? And where is the corresponding purchase order? How is this total thing tracked? This is done with what is called as automatic PO creation. So let's see this in action. So in order to do that, let's create the material flour. Flour 01 retail raw material, and it's a copy of coffee beans. And we need the basic view, the purchasing view, and accounting view, and storage view. And we are creating this for the plant Chicago. Storage location, coffee say, or raw. Because it's flour, it goes into the raw material, right? Coffee goes into coffee, flour goes into the raw material. Okay, looks like the material already exists, so it will be extended. Alright, that's good. So everything else is there. And let's go create a purchase order for coffee, because that was our original order, right? We have ordered for coffee, the coffee truck came in for delivery. Now we are checking with him if he has flour. So let's create the original order for coffee, 100 pounds, and save. Now we are going to pick up that PO and do a goods receipt. MyGo, purchase order. Here, now the truck has come in with 100 pounds of coffee, and we are checking with him if he has 100 pounds of flour. He says he has 100 pounds of flour. Now, what do? We take that bag of 100 pounds of flour, put it in our warehouse. Alright. How do we track it in the system? So go click on the plus button here. So it says non-ordered item. It's an item that we did not order yet. But since it's an urgent requirement, we just want to take it and use it and then pay for it later. And in order to pay for the goods, you need to have a purchase order. So clicking on this button will enable a tab whereby you can enter your material, flour 01. And what's the quantity we have taken in? We have taken 100 pounds of flour. Enter. And where did we take it? In the plant Chicago 1 and storage location raw. Now you see the movement type here is 501 and it says goods receipt without PO. We have not created a PO for 100 pounds of flour, right? So it's a special movement type that can accommodate goods receipt without a PO. But you have to provide some additional details, like who is the vendor who is supplying the goods, because based on this data your purchase order is automatically going to be created, right? You don't need account assignment because we are going to raise a PO and click save. Now this is our material document. Control C. And how do you know what is the PO associated with this ad hoc goods receipt? If you go to MB03 material document, you should see the PO here. Do you see the PO? I don't see the PO. Why? Because creation of an automatic purchase order has to be configured. So where do you configure it? You configure it for the movement type 501. So 501 should be configured to automatically generate a PO. Purchase order 4001 with coffee beans, which is a planned item. So let's go now do a goods receipt. So go to MyGo, enter your purchase order number. So the truck has delivered 100 pounds of coffee. Now you want to add 100 pounds of flour as an ad hoc purchase. So go to click on non-ordered item, go to the material tab, enter flour. And how much do we want? 100 pounds. Where do you want it? You want it in the Chicago plant and raw material storage location. Now by default it goes to 501. Just change this to 101. And in the partner data, who has supplied the material? Vendor 4001. In the same goods receipt, if another truck vendor 4002 comes in and you have received the goods there, you can enter a different vendor here. But for now, let's just enter the same vendor 4001 and click check. Make sure everything is okay. Now what does it say? Vendor has not been created for purchase org 3000. Why does it say purchase org 3000? We are working in purchase org US01, company code US01. So why does it say purchase org 3000? This is because for every plant there should be a default purchase org. And where do you assign that? You assign that in enterprise structure. So if you go to enterprise structure, assignment, assign standard purchase org to plant and select Chicago. So what is the default purchase org? 3000. We want US01, the custom plant that we have created. the custom purchase org that we have created. Save it. Now, it's not only sufficient that you do this step, but since you're asking the system to automatically create a purchase order for a particular material, you also have to make sure that you create an info record, which I have created. So for 4001 flower purchase org US01 Chicago plant, I've created an info record with $10 in price. And the movement type also needs to be configured to automatically create a PO. How do you configure a movement type? Well, we have not seen this until now. The transaction for that is OMJJ. Go select your movement type 101. Hit enter. And make sure this field, the automatic PO field, is checked on. If it's not, it will not create an automatic PO when you do the goods receipt. And the vendor should be marked for automatic PO. So if you go to VKMK03, select your vendor and go to the purchasing data, hit enter, enter, and you see that automatic purchase order. This should be checked on. And in the material master for flower, in the purchasing view for Chicago plant, of course, the automatic PO should be checked on. So once all these things are in place, now let's abandon this because it doesn't work. Let's go create another goods receipt for the purchase order that we have just created. Now go click add, and the material is flower. Quantity is 100, and change the movement type to 101. In plant Chicago storage location raw material, and the partner is 4001. Now let's check if everything is okay. Document is okay. Save it. So goods movement 48 is posted. Go to MB03, 48, hit OK, and there you see the newly created PO. This is a PO that was created instantly as a result of this ad hoc goods movement. Copy that. Now you can go to ME23N or 22N. Put your purchase order number, the newly created purchase order number, and you see the purchase order, and you see the price. What's the price? $10. Where was it picked up from? From the purchase info record that I have created. So this is how you configure the system to automatically create purchase orders.